War situations are extraordinary situations. The decisions made in these situations are always of great importance. Every decision should be carefully evaluated and examined for all angles. Making sudden decisions can lead to a huge disaster. These disasters, on the other hand, cause the loss of control. We are facing such situation in the confliction between Russia and Ukraine. In our previous reports, we mentioned the dismissal of Ivan Popov, one of the important commanders of the Russian army, could lead to major problems in the combat capacity of the Russian army. This theory of ours has gained validity as of now. There are many reports that Russian soldiers have surrendered. Moreover, this incident is not only about Popov's dismissal. So what is going on the Russian army? Let's take a look at the latest situation together. The Pioneer continues to take the pulse of the war between Russia and Ukraine without stopping. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and open notifications so as not to miss our daily map analysis and reports on the agenda. You can also support us by using the Super Thanks button to continue these reporting activities. The Pioneer reports. The counteroffensive launched by the Ukrainian army in recent months has gained great momentum. The personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine are constantly fighting with all elements to liberate the Russian-occupied territories of Ukraine. According to the latest information we have received from local sources, the Ukrainian army's counterattack has increased its strength in recent days, especially on the Zaporizhia front line. Russian troops, on the other hand, have largely lost their potential to resist the impact of these attacks. A very remarkable development took place during the ongoing operations on the Zaporizhia front line. A Russian unit was captured in the operational involving tanks belonging to the Ukrainian ground forces and Ukrainian infantry. The exciting moments were shared with the public by local sources. Ukrainian troops on the Zaporizhia front line began targeting positions of the Russian armed forces in the early morning. These positions were especially defense lines established in the deserted buildings. The perimeter of the deserted buildings in the Russian-controlled area in the direction of Mikhailivka was surrendered by Ukrainian tanks. Staying inside buildings during such attacks is a very big danger. If the building turns into a wreck, all troops inside the building may be destroyed. The outside of the building is safer compared to inside of the building. Therefore, Russian troops also left the buildings to escape the shelling carried out by tanks of the Ukrainian armed forces and started looking for sheltered positions. However, the Ukrainian army was aware that Russian troops would make such a move. This is what the Ukrainian soldiers wanted, because the Ukrainian army had prevented an excellent strategy. All the points where the Russian soldiers could escape after leaving the building had been determined. Ukrainian artillery units had also turned the barrels of their cannons into areas where the Russian army would flee. Tanks of the Ukrainian army had shelled the vicinity of the deserted buildings where the Russian army is located for a long time. Later, the tanks slightly reduced the rate of shelling. That was part of the plan. With the Ukrainian tanks slowing down their attacks, the Russian soldiers left the deserted buildings and tried to take up positions in the open terrain. At this point, Ukrainian artillery units stepped in and started hitting these positions. The Russian troops were almost terrified. Russian soldiers began to retreat with great speed, but not every Russian soldier was lucky as those who were able to retreat. The lucky Russian soldiers did not get the opportunity to move throughout the attacks of the Ukrainian artillery units. The area had literally turned into a living hell. After a while, the Ukrainian artillery also stopped the attack. At that time, although the Russian troops thought that everything was back to normal now, the Ukrainian infantry had already come close to them. Ukrainian soldiers called out Russian soldiers who took up the position to protect themselves from a cannon attack. Surrender. According to local sources, there were about 200 Russian soldiers in the area. A large part of these soldiers had lost their lives while trying to escape tanks and artillery attacks. The number of Russian soldiers who were able to escape the attack was quite small. According to the allegations, the remaining 14 Russian soldiers in the region gave up their weapons and surrendered to the Ukrainian soldiers. In addition, the Russian soldiers in the region did not show any resistance to the Ukrainian soldiers. These claims that our soldiers belonging to the Russian armed forces have surrendered have been shared with the public by local sources. However, this was not the only news about the surrender of Russian soldiers. Moreover, this incident was not connected with the front line. As you may remember, we recently shared with you the information that Ivan Popov, who is considered one of the successful commanders of the Russian army, has been dismissed. We have stated that there is a great disturbance in the troops of the Russian army regarding this dismissal incident. According to the allegations, this disturbance resulted in the surrender of Russian soldiers to the Ukrainian troops. Major General Ivan Popov was a well-liked and successful figure both among the troops under his command and among all Russian troops. In recent days, Ivan Popov have confronted the Russian defense minister and the Russian general staff. Popov, who reported to the Russian general staff about the situation of the Russian army, stated that at some points it was necessary to withdraw. In fact, Popov was aware of the devastation caused by the counterattack launched by the Ukrainian army on the Russian positions. Therefore, a tactical retreat could have prevented even greater losses. The Russian troops could not resist in the face of the Ukrainian army. Therefore, it was necessary to take a position further back. However, these reports of Popov were not taken into account by the Russian general staff. In recent days, Russian bloggers have claimed that a Russian assault platoon stationed in Zaporizhia have surrendered to the Ukrainian army along with the dismissal of Ivan Popov. The competent authorities of the Russian Federation have not made any statements about the details of the alleged incident connected with Popov's dismissal. We mentioned in our previous map reports that the Ukrainian army has almost put Bakhmut under siege. In particular, operations around Klishchivka have gained quite a lot of speed. According to information quoted by local sources, Russian troops in the region are suffering quite heavy losses. According to recent reports, one of the Russian defense battalion in the region surrendered to the Ukrainian army after suffering heavy losses. As the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive continues, the situation of the Russian army is becoming more difficult every day. As the progress of the Ukrainian army gains momentum, it is quite likely that we will witness the surrender of more Russian soldiers to the Ukrainian armed forces. What do you guys think? Do you think the cases of the Russian soldiers surrendering will increase? Do you consider the attacks carried out by the Ukrainian soldiers to be successful? Do you think the dismissal of Major General Popov will affect the Russian soldiers more? We care about your opinions. Please share it with us.